All right, from Lagos this beautiful morning, this is also going to be like our conversation. We would be talking about the Senate, the fact that the Senate has approved Nigerians' troop deployment to Benin Republic. And a lot of Nigerians are saying that we have our problem, our security problem in this insecurity problem in this country, and we're helping another country. It's a good thing to, help or support our neighboring country, but a lot of speculation saying that we have our problems. So why are we helping another country? But it's a good thing. But our guest this beautiful morning that would be helping us analyze today's topic is Barrister Atta Adams. He is a legal practitioner. And hello, Barrister. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, and thank you for having me on this program.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
And also joining via Zoom this beautiful morning is Dr. Victor Ohai, a UN Humanitarian Ambassador. Hello, Doctor. If you can hear me, good morning to you. All right, today we turn a major development in West Africa political and security landscape. Nigerian Senate has approved President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's request to deploy Nigerian troops to the Benin Republic. This followed a recent attempt coup in Cotonou, where soldiers briefly seized key institution and tried to remove President Patrice Taylor from office. Nigerian responded swiftly, first with air support to push back the coup plotters, and now with ground forces to help stabilize the country. According to the government, this intervention is both a response to a formal request from Benin Republic and part of Nigerians' responsibilities under ECOWAS to protect constitutional rule in the region. I'm going to be starting with you before we move to Doctor. I'm going to be starting with you, Barrister Atta Adams. Nigeria is currently battling serious internal security challenges. Was this a strategic decision to deploy military resources outside the country at this time?
Well, whether we like it or not, it's settled that most of the infiltration that we have in Nigeria, security-wise, the terrorists, the group, the jihadists, the Boko Haramis, and series of them, a lot of them are from the subordinate country. And Nigerian, as the leader of Africa per se, as we brand ourselves, we must protect our territory. Because once your territory, your border lines are open, people will definitely come in, criminals will come in, and that is what has been the issue in our security outfits all over the federation. You see that the borders are porous, they are open. So I'm in support. I'm not against that, because whether we like it or not, we must ensure as the leader of Africa, because what happened recently, last Sunday per se, can equally happen in this country. And that is why we as a nation, we must stand firm to protect under the ECOWAS rules and regulation, to protect the democracy in the subordinate country. That is what it is. So I am not against the National Assembly to have granted Mr. President that approval.
All right, let's get to hear your take on this, Dr. Victor Ohai, if you can hear me. At this point, Nigeria is currently battling serious insecurity challenges in the country. So is it okay, or would you support what Mr. President has done at this point? Because a lot of speculation saying that we have our problems in Nigeria. We would focus, instead of focusing on our problems in Nigeria, we are helping our neighboring country. What do you have to say about this, Dr. Victor Ohai? So I don't know if you can hear me, Dr. Victor. Okay, let's just continue here. I think it's having technical network issues. Barrister Atta, the Constitution requires Senate approval before Nigerian troops are deployed abroad. Yeah, do you believe the speed of the Senate's approval within a minute, meets the spirit of constitutional oversight?
Yes, this is what we're talking about, security we're talking about. So it's of paramount importance, because it is he that is alive that the government is going to oversee the affairs. So the security must be taken on a serious note, not to be taken for granted by all standard. So I'm in agreement with the speed to which the National Assembly approve Mr. President's request. And this is more importantly that most of the things that we feed in this our dear country, they are from the subordinate country. So what you see playing that Nigerian is interested in what is happening in other countries, other subordinate countries within the region, is to even protect you and I, security-wise, economic-wise, and even the terrorists will continue to infiltrate and enter our dear country. So by all standard, we must know that Mr. President is not everything that is politics. But I agree with the step of Mr. President, because if you look at what is happening within the region now, you agree with me that if we don't take speed to curtail the extent of the coup and then the military trying to take over, very soon it will happen in our dear country. Even more importantly, that there were rumors recently and some people were arrested in connection with a coup. So how will you describe that? So the president must be proactive. Our militaries are not just there as mere cosmetics. They must go out and then protect either internal or external aggression. You go there, that's how it's being done in America. You go to your enemy's doorstep and fight from them, and then you make them uncomfortable. You don't wait for them to come and strike. It's not done.
Who is our enemy?
No, I'm giving an instance per se.
Okay.
Yes, I'm
you
not.
know, analysts argued that Nigeria is already overstretched with Boko Haram, banditry, kidnapping at home. In your view, does this deployment compromise our internal security priorities? I mean, we've been seeing a couple of videos, we've seen kidnapping issues, banditry, ISWAP, and all of that terrorism has been happening in the country. And some person said, does this deployment compromise our internal security priorities at this point?
No. All we need to do is to intensify and then assign more troops. Recently, I want to commend Mr. President for withdrawing policemen from VIPs. I commend Mr. President because we don't even have enough, policemen out there. And then you are seeing VIPs, celebrities, Yahoo boys, and series of people assigning 3 to 4 personnel security outfits to themselves. It's not done. As to whether or not the approval compromise our domestic security, I don't think so, because we have agreed, we have identified that most of the terrorists are not Nigerians. They are from the subordinate country. If you go to the boundary in the north, you see that the boundary is porous, it's open. And then by the time you give room for a government that is not properly regulated, more of these terrorists will continue to enter our their country. So we must fight it. We must go there and ensure that democracy is on board in those countries, not leaving it for lawlessness and anarchy. So you see, that's the point we are making. Whether we like it or not, it's not in dispute that most of these terrorists, most of these jihadists, most of whether ISWAP, Boko Haram, whichever way you brand them, we have agreed that a lot of them, 75% of them, they are from the surrounding neighborhood country.
They are not from Nigeria.
That is what we are told. I don't know. Some of them may be from Nigeria, but it's not in dispute that we have some of them who unlawfully entered our country and then they are terrorizing this country. I cannot give the exact figure out of 100%, but whether we like it or not, we must ensure that the government, the primary responsibility of the government, and more importantly that we have ECOWAS. And some of these surrounding countries, even Nigeria, is a head. So you agree with me that Mr. President have not derailed by any means, because if we get it wrong, those people will continue to infiltrate, and it's bad for their country.
All right, you made mention about the VIPs that was with the offices that was withdrawn from those VIPs, police that was withdrawn from VIPs. Do you think it will help? Because a lot of persons have been saying that, okay, they're applauding the president that he has done a good job. I mean, we have like a lot of police in the country, and a lot of them protecting these VIPs. And the president saw that at this point in Nigeria, we need this police, you know, and he withdrew them from the VIPs. Do you think it's going to help curb insecurity?
Yes, to an extent, because it's not in dispute that we have, we don't even have, the numbers of policemen we have in the whole federation cannot even meet up about 100 or 200 million Nigerians. We are growing on a daily basis, and we don't even have up to 50 or 60,000 policemen all over the federation. So how will you equate it? And that's why I agree with Mr. President for that withdrawal. So I don't think Mr. President have derailed by that, but what matters is the enforcement. How are we going to?
What matters is the enforcement.
Yes, we have, for example, I will give you a very practical experience. Now, we have enough law. They will continue to make law on a daily basis. What about the one you have? How effective have you been able to enforce it? That's number one. As to the enforcement of this withdrawal, let me say that most of the policemen that are following the VIPs, they are not even on uniform. So are you now going to know whether they are you see them like orderly, you see them carrying bag?
Yeah, I have a guest that came in and said most of them might just be dressed in suits. You think they're DSS, you don't know they're police officers, you know, following this VIPs. Are they going to comply?
So the compliance will have to be from the office. Who is going to assign them? Because for each and every policeman you see outside there, they are assigned from somebody. The DPO, if they don't want to compromise, because nobody will want to lose his job. Because I saw it recently in the news where a police officer was dismissed for going contrary to the order of Mr. President. Because despite the subsisting order of Mr. President, he still went and followed VIPs. So they will demote you or dismiss your service.
Yeah, they already assigned some police officers to some places like events, hotels, you know, to go see if this police that they've withdrawn from VIPs, if they're actually complying, that if they're not complying, anyone being caught would be punished.
How many of the events are you going to attend in the upcoming December? How many? And then it's just very simple. Nigerians will always cut corners, wash out. They will just tell their police officers to wear suits or wear native attires, and then you will not even know that it's an officer. So, and then like I said, the enforcement will have to start from the office. Who is going to assign them? It's the person that assigned them that will face the consequence. That's the DPO and most of the superior officers. So it's not something that we are new to this country. We have enough laws. We have enough policies. What is important is the enforcement. It's not by the numbers that you have. You can have a little and then you are managing it properly. And then the other party has a lot and then he cannot even manage and regulate them. That's the situation we have in this part of the world. Mr. President have made that pronouncement, but it now boils down to the grassroots. Who is now going to enforce it? Is it the president that will leave as a rock? That will now follow up and ensure the enforcement? It can't be done. That's the problem. But before that, before you say that they should not follow VIPs, you should also increase their salary. So I want to say it openly to Mr. President. Do something to increase their salary. Because if a policeman is poor, you see him, he will have no option than to follow Yahoo boys, follow VIPs, where his weekly allowances is more than his monthly allowances, salary per se. So how do you correlate that?
So now that you're saying that what you're trying to say is the president should increase this police officer's salary.
Yes, that's my suggestion. Yes, they should train them, give them adequate technology so that they will not go and work for one VIPs and then you see they buy them one iPhone and then they are in love with that VIP. Give them enough money because they are protecting life and properties. It is anybody that will protect my life. I will want to give him anything that he wants because my life is important to me. It's he that have life that will even talk about governance per se. So for me, I think that Mr. President needs to think beyond that pronouncement. How effective are you running and managing the affairs of the police officers? How much is their salary monthly? Is it that the VIPs are paying them? Because I continue to wonder. Is it that the VIPs are paying them more than what you're paying them monthly? Why are they running after the VIPs and then they have abandoned common Nigerians? Again, the VIPs are also human.
Exactly.
They're also required to be protected.
What about ordinary Nigerians?
Everybody is ordinary Nigerians. Because let me give you an example. When you call a figure of 5 billion, somebody say only. For you it's a big money, but to somebody it's only. So that's where I'm looking at it from. I'm saying that everybody is an ordinary Nigerian. It depends on the angles you are coming from. The VIPs are entitled to be protected. The ordinary Nigerians, like you said, well, I feel I have this impression that where somebody will call himself ordinary Nigerian, for where? Where did you get that pronouncement from? Everybody is a Nigerian. That's what the constitution say. The constitution did not brand whether you are from a rich family or so. So we need to jack up and look at ourselves.
So let's talk about the aircraft that landed at Burkina Faso. You know, according to NAF, they said the aircraft was on a ferry mission to Portugal. Shortly after departing from Lagos, the crew detected a technical problem and decided to make a precautionary emergency landing at the nearest suitable aircraft, airfield rather. And the landing triggered some reactions from the Alliance of Sahara States, AES, says that they condemned the landing, calling it violation of Burkina Faso airspace and describing the act as unfriendly. The AES also warned that any further such violations would be met with force, putting its air and anti-air defenses on high alert. What would you have to say about that? I mean, the NAF has said that the flight was actually going to Portugal, you know, for a ferry mission, but because of technical issues, they had to, you know, land in Burkina Faso. And you know, trust Nigerians. A lot of speculation saying that it's because of these all cool issues in Benin Republic. So that is why, you know, they had to send this soldiers to Burkina Faso. But they said that is not the main issue that happened. What do you think?
Well, it's very simple. Under international law, under aviation law, there are situations to which you can land in another country per se, emergency like in the current situation, because it is not their making, is as a result of the default in the aircraft. That's why they landed in that country. So that's an exception.
Okay,
That's an
I'll come
exception.
back to you. I think we can talk to Dr. Victor Ohai now. If you can hear me, Dr. Victor. I said at this point that Nigeria is already overstretched with Boko Haram banditry, kidnapping, terrorism. Do you think what the president did at this point, you know, the Senate has approved sending troops to Benin Republic. Do you think it's okay at this point that Nigeria, I mean, we have our own problems and the Senate approved the president's request? What is your take?
Obviously, the institution of democracy is collapsing in Nigeria because we no longer have the checks and balances as, uh, as should be. You know, the biggest issue that we have right now is the fact that back home here, we're confronted with insurgency, we're confronted with terrorism, banditry, and if you recall what Gerard Musa said during the screening at the Senate, he had said that for every drop that defense is a very expensive uh, uh, endeavor. That if some bombs cost as much as $100,000, and if you drop it, whether it hit the target or not, you know that is gone. Now, when you consider the fact that even when our president was held captive, our former president was held captive in Guinea-Bissau, it took Cote d'Ivoire to go and salvage him and bring him back home. Our government did not come with that kind of response, you know. But what do we find now? A situation of something that does not even concern us. I defend sovereign altogether. We are quick to respond, sending our efforts with such speed and alacrity that we could not deploy to save our girls or our students who were kidnapped recently. You know, he may have gotten the Senate approval, but, you know, I want to praise Nigerian media because they were the ones that drew attention to the fact that that action by itself was illegal unless he sought and got the approval of the Senate, you know, before he now, as an afterthought, went back to do it, you know. So I think that we have enough problems at home, and I wish that the government would apply the same sort of, you know, speed, agility, and precision in dealing with terrorists as they have gone to deal with the cookies in Benin Republic.
he thinks that we have enough problem in Nigeria in terms of insecurity. You know, he would appreciate the fact that if Nigerian government has put more speed in tackling insecurity in Nigeria, you know, you said it's okay that you applaud the president for what he did, but Dr. Victor Oha is not finding it funny at all. He's saying that our problem is much in the country. I mean, why do they not apply that same speed instead of, you know, the way they applied the speed, approving troop to go to Benin Republic to help them? And we have our problems in Nigeria.
Yes, I agree with him. I'm not disputing that facts that we have issues in their country. We have insecurity challenges, banditries, kidnapping, and a lot of them in their country. But and then I know, as a matter of fact, that Mr. President is trying his best, but the best is not forthcoming, according to them. And from what we are seeing, I don't know how Nigerians intend to celebrate this festive period. But however, people are beginning to lose interest in the system. The system has failed woefully. I don't have anything to say in support of this system as it relates to protection of life and properties. Because I always say that it's when you have life that we even talk about government. And our life and properties is at risk all over the Federation. You don't know who is the next person to be kidnapped. Recently, some group of people were arrested in Kogi State, terrorists. And despite the fact that there are about 20 to 15 checkpoints before you get to that particular village, it's only an Okada man that was able to detect the terrorists. What happened to the police, the Navy, the Army, all the checkpoints? These people are compromising.
The issue of insecurity is alarming in the country. Dr. Victor Okai, let's quickly get your last take on this because we're out of time. ECOWAS has been battling multiple coups in recent years. Could Nigerian decisive action in Benin help deter future coup attempts across the region?
Well, that is the intention. But the truth is that what you find is that the ECOWAS leaders themselves, many of them, are not true to their people. They do not practice true democracy. They are just sit-down dictators. You can see that across. And because coups pose an existential threat to many of these leaders. Because the thing about coups is that when they take place in one place, very soon it's like a virus, they don't spread. So what they're doing is trying to protect themselves to make sure that they deter coups, within the sub-region. But the best deterrent for coup is good governance. It's giving people not a GDP, but the GDP of the stomach. Let people feel it in their stomach. And then the issue of insecurity, when people are safe, the government can be there, nobody cares, nobody will worry. But when your stomach is telling you what is different from what the government is saying, and when you see people who begin to change laws, left, right, and center, muzzle opposition, obviously, like they say, those who make peaceful change impossible make violent change inevitable. And that's what we're beginning to see. So the intention is to deter, but we'll have to wait and see how that truly succeeds. Because you can only do that up to a point. And Talon has been, obviously, if you saw the way we just I think, enough to finalize how he has shifted the goalposts in his country, dealt with the position, using legal means and, to do illegal things, to a point where there is no opposition anymore in that country. And obviously, that's why the country reacts. So I don't know if the civilians we have are any better than the military that we are saying we don't want.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Victor Ohai, for your time. Okay, let's get your last take on this.
Yes, I've heard from the last speaker, but my little take is that I agree with him that our leaders, our politicians are protecting themselves. That's why you see that they rate the speedometer to which the approval was granted by the Senate is on a high rate.
All right. Thank you so much, Barrister Atta Adams, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you, Nigerians, for joining our Lagos Network studio this morning on TMI.